Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Lone Star Mopars.com. It is Monday, Mopar Monday. Also apparently Valentine's Day, Mopar Monday being the most important aspect of that equation. But it's Valentine's Day, love is in the air. If you missed Saturday's video, you need to check it out because that's where this originated. Knipex, under the radar of the night. Very, very few people knew about this. Unleashed a fan shop. Stuff is available. We picked up this counter mat. We got some super sweet Cobra keychains. Y'all seem to really like those. Got some t-shirts, including the pronunciation t-shirt. And my only request again, try to remember me, when you order. And also, let's try to get Knipex to release the Hawaiian print or tropical shirt button up with the Cobra pliers. Because yes, I would buy that, and yes, I would wear it all the time. Now, that aside, I told you this would only be for special purposes, and as much as you might have preferred to see something from Knipex, we're back to our usual stuff here. But fear not, because this is almost just as special of a video. In fact, some of you might even like it more. Kind of depends where you fall on the tool spectrum. What I'm about to show you are prototype products, and one of these I guess didn't really make the cut and the other one did or could, and it's sort of going to be up to you to help it come to fruition. So what am I talking about, you ask? Well, this would play in beautifully if I was able to release videos in the order that I record them, but this is something that just kind of happened. I was kind of conversing, and I'm like, it's, again, if you don't ask, you will never know. And this was something that you may or may not see very shortly, that was recorded about a month or two ago now, and that I happened to like and was interested in. And let's just stop the chit chat and get right down to the good stuff. So right here, boom. Some of you will know what this is, some of you will not. Everyone is probably interested. This is a prototype product from Mechanics Time Savers. What this is a socket tray or socket organizer, whatever you want to reference it as. What's special about this one is it is orange. Currently, Mechanics Time Savers has blue, they have red, your stereotypical SAE and Metric, division lines, if you will. They've got green, which looks really cool. I'm wanting to bring one of those in. They have got gray, and you're sitting there and you're like, oh, and they've got orange. No, they currently do not have orange. That's why this is prototype 1. And what this is, I was told this is the only one in existence. This is orange as your backdrop. You've got black for your socket tray, and you've got white for the numbers. Obviously, this being 7 to 19, that's what you would have with, of course, your metric socket set. Now, the way this is set up, you would have your shallow sockets here in the front. You will have your deep sockets there in the back. Again, 7 to 19. If your 3/8 set goes 8 to 19, or if you sit there and you think, well, mine is bits and pieces, this is sort of a fixed deal. Again, we've got so many organizational videos coming, and I have them recorded, and spoiler alert, yeah, some might involve Mechanics Time Savers friction peg socket holders, but for what it is, this needed to come out first. I promised them I'd get pictures of it, and who am I to deny? So right here, this would be metric. This is 3/8 drive. The way this works, and I will show you this thing fully populated here in a little bit, you've got just a little peg here. So you're familiar with my Ernst rails. We've done lots of videos on those. There's, again, tons of stuff I've already recorded, and we're sort of expediting this one because it's special. But this is essentially what it says it is. It's a friction peg. So your 3/8 drive socket, your drive-in comes down and goes over this sort of like star feature or torque setup, and it just holds the socket. And we'll do our patented Dairy Queen test and everything here in a little bit. But this was a prototype, and you're thinking like, okay, well what's the deal? Well, this is also a prototype right here. And these are similar but subtly different, all right? And so what this one is, obviously, perhaps the most notable change is the numbering. Instead of having 7 and 19, we've got quarter and 1, that being obviously fractional or SAE increments here for our sockets. And the other thing you're going to notice, if you have got a keen eye, we had white numerals here, we've got white numerals here, but where this is white on orange, this is white on black, sort of like provides that classic high contrast. That allows you to, in my opinion, see the numbers a little bit easier. Some of you may agree, some of you will disagree. But I think white on black, classic chalkboard format, can't really go wrong. The other thing that's changed, though, is on this tray, it was an orange backing, and we had the black center sections here. The way this one is set up is you've got the orange center section. I know some of you are like, whoa, that's a lot of orange, man. People that like orange, I mean, again, picture this in your favorite color. So you got red, you got blue, you got gray, you got green, all those things. This is what I assume Mechanics Time Savers would unleash if this were to come to production, because it mirrors what they have available on their site. 3/8 drive, metric or SAE, manufacturer suggested retail price, you would be looking at $24.99, basically $25, $50 between them. Again, anywhere MTS products are sold, you kind of come in and probably save a few. There's a lot of places that kind of, rebrand these, but this is direct from MTS. In their color configuration, you would be looking at this. So this little guy right here is a one-off type of a deal. Currently, this one is too. However, if you're the orange and black, or if you just like seeing diversity, or if you're the green guy, but you still have to use SAE and you got all your metric stuff in green, and you think, man, I would love to put my SAE stuff in orange, make that. Similarly, if you're kind of the opposite of that, if you have your SAE in orange, and you've got green, and you're like, well, I would have loved to have had these, but they weren't available in orange. Or if it's just a deal where you're all orange all the time, orange you glad these exist type of orange appreciation, if you would use SAE and metric both in orange, because you think, hey, with this, white on black, easy to read scale, I don't care that, they would be identical. I can tell them apart by the easy to read size markings. Whatever you fall in, if you fall in one of those categories, you need to leave a comment and you need to say, hey, please, Mechanics Time Savers, make these money in hand, I'm ready to buy them. What do I get from that? Nothing aside from helping bring this to fruition, if you will. Obviously, like I said, trying not to spoil too much of what's already been recorded and ready to go. This is a product that exists in other colors. I may or may not have them. You can probably deduce that from context clues and be 100% correct in your assumption. And I might have liked it, and I might have said, hey, is this something you would ever make in orange? Because if you recall, we've got the 34-inch full bank MasterTech service cart. Sometimes I spit those words out correctly. And my color of choice there is orange. And you've seen some of the stuff we've done. You've seen, I think, the Ernst Rails, brand new orange. And like I said, I wanted to come in and I wanted to test head-to-head, not only like in a bench demonstration, but also real-world usage over time. What I wind up liking, what I don't like, what works well for instance A and not B. You get the idea. And so it'll kind of be an ongoing experiment, but this is something that, favorably impressed me, when I did the unboxing and initial setup. And I said, hey, would you ever do them in orange? And they said, funny you would ask, because we've actually considered that. We've got 2 prototypes here. We'll send them out to you. Just get us pictures. So there's nothing I solicited. I was just ready to buy one in orange. And boom, this happened. So what you need to do, again, is leave comments, tell them, go straight to their social media. They're fairly active on Instagram, for example, and say, hey, that idiot that I watch, Wednesdays and Saturdays had your orange stuff and I want to buy it. And tell them, because again, that is never annoying. If you're sitting there and you like a product, especially, if some of you have these red, blue, gray, green, whatever, if you're familiar with the friction pegs already, and you say, man, that's the ticket, that's what I need for the other half of my sockets, or maybe you're someone that divides your impacts and chrome sockets differently, or your 6-point and your 12-point, whatever you're doing, if you're familiar with this and you want it, they need to know. I think something else I will try to do is utilize the community tab on YouTube. Way back in the day it was under a different name, but essentially every once in a while you'll see me post stuff there, and there's poll options. I will make a poll there. Again, it costs you nothing but a few seconds to click or leave your thoughts there. Basically, I want to do my best job of conveying to Mechanics Time Savers what you want, and hopefully what you want is what I want, which is for them to make this. Now, let's go out on a loop here and say that you hate orange. It's not your color. You're a yellow guy. Maybe you're a purple lady. I don't know. But the more colors, the merrier, in my opinion. The more diverse, the more of a selection, the more you can divvy things up. Again, you know, you might match it all with your box. This might be perfect for you. Same exact thing with Metric. It might be a deal where you do half, 3/8, and quarter totally differently. You might do SAE and Metric, but divide them 6 and 12. There's so many things people can do. And if this is something that you think would benefit you, or you've probably, you know, anyone at a place with like 3 or 4 or 5 plus people in the back, you probably have that orange guy, right? Whether it ties in with old cars, whether it's a Harley person, whether they just got it because everyone else had like red and green, whatever the reason, you probably know someone, even if it's not your color. Let them know. Tell them, hey, get involved. You know, I know you like these things. They're considering making them. Similarly, just to pitch this out there, if you are the yellow or the purple person, right? To be totally fair, orange is kind of like an established color along with green. You got red, blue, you got, you know, green, orange. It's sort of that color hierarchy. If these come to production and they fare well, or enough people are like happy but also kind of mad, or sort of happy and optimistic, you could wind up hitting up Mechanics Time Saver and say, hey, I'm glad you made orange, but I'm a yellow guy. I need yellow. Can you make yellow? And again, if enough people let the companies know, like, hey, there is a market for yellow socket holders, friction peg style, you might just see them, you know, come to market, and then you're happy. And then the purple lady can come in and rally her people, and it's sort of getting orange sort of knocked down in the domino deck, gets it closer to your preferred color, right? So, you know, people with the oddball colors, you know, it's gonna be a rough road to hoe. But, you know, these staple sort of standard tool colors, and then the expanded palette, if you will, they would naturally come next. So there's incentive there. Hopefully you've been taking these in, enjoying your views of them. Again, as best I know, in the MTS labeling, direct from MTS, this is what this would look like if I had this in red, if I had this in blue, if I had it in green, which looks awesome with the black, by the way. If we had it in gray, which also looks pretty good, sort of like a neutral option, would work well with the new gray roller cabinets from Harbor Freight. But this is just one of those things. It looks really good and it's very functional. Now, this one, like I said, I believe is just the solo prototype. They kicked it around, they needed to see it. It's one of those things, you draw it up on a computer, you can picture it in your head. Sometimes you just need to see it in person and be like, oh, that's what it looks like. Now, let me look at this one. And so, as best I know, this would be the production version if it comes to market. This is just like the oddball prototype they sent out to me to be nice. If for some reason you dig this deal, if you think the white on orange is enough contrast, or if you just dig the aesthetic of looking down at the black, leave your thoughts and comments there, because who knows, maybe they'll think, hey, we have enough people across the board, we need to offer this inverted color scheme for everything we make. You know, who knows? I sort of happen to prefer this, sort of what they have already with other colors. Some of you may very well like that. Again, I'm a Mopar guy. I'm used to people not liking what I like, right? So if this is something that interests you, let them know, please. I'll have the poll. I'll do my best to link to it. If not, just go to my channel, and then there will be the community tab. You can see it there. Leave a comment. Again, hit him up on Instagram. I'll try to remember to link directly to that. I'll be posting pictures of this. Again, this is Valentine's Day, and this will be the Wednesday video. I'll go in tonight and edit it. If you're curious what my plans are for the evening, you now know. But what I want to do, if you are not familiar with how these work, I'm going to go grab a bunch of sockets, and we're going to populate these. I'll sort of show you how it works. And then, like I said, you might just be seeing something very similar to this in the not too distant future. So just kind of, you know, take it with a grain of salt when we go into great detail and the, you know, wow factor there. But that is the precursor to this. So I've already recorded the videos. It's just this was special. This is not something I expected to happen, and I really want them to make these in 1/4 and 1/2 inch as well. So need some help here, and the good thing is I think a lot of you will agree with me. How about alpha? You know, I could use some orange and black gloves there too, you know. But anyway, I'm going to grab some sockets. I think we'll do like a mix of chrome and impact, just so you can sort of get the variance there. The other thing that's really cool about these is just the stair step. This gives you a really good, I know it's blurry, but the profile here, if that looks like a shoe or a stair step, it does a really good job because, again, I've already, played with these a couple months ago, where you've got your deeps in the back, your shallows in the front, and you can still see size markers. Really nice little setup they've got. So I'm going to get some sockets, throw this together. Won't take up too much more of your time, but please, I don't solicit comments and stuff. This is not for me. This is just, let's try to get these made. And again, whether it's benefit you or a coworker, if you're just like, man, I really want the, chartreuse coming, and the only way to get there, we got to get orange, yellow, and purple first. So whatever your logic, please try to help make this happen. And again, I mean, if you hate it, just straight up tell them, like, this is a terrible idea. I can't believe you and this guy thought it was a good idea, and all these other people in the comments that say they love it are crazy. If that's you, so be it. Be the party crasher. Sometimes it's better to just not say anything at all, but if you want this, please, I implore you, let Mechanics Time Savers know, because I'm somebody that would love to go buy several more of these. So without further ado, I'm going to grab the sockets, showcase this, give you a good feel of how this functions, and then show you what it's capable of. Alright, so just to kind of quickly demo how this actually functions, obviously you want to take your corresponding socket with the corresponding size, but this, again, I'll give you a good look at it. It's just a little kind of rubberized peg, if you will, and it does exactly what the name implies. It's a friction hold. So I set the socket in place, and that's how it's going to hold. That's how it's going to space. I can turn it over. As you can see, it didn't fall on the mat. My hand is here, the other hand is coming this way. I can shake it rather vigorously. That's actually about as fast as I can go, and it's not going anywhere. Now, over time, obviously, even though you might have deduced I have some of these in some configuration somewhere in the shop, I have not owned them long enough to be like, oh, hey, after 6 years, this peg is worthless. I don't know. That's all like conjecture for me. I'm hoping to find out over time. But initially, the hold is fan-freaking-tastic. So again, to kind of highlight this, we'll come in, go with the 15 here. So we got our little Capri metric impacts. And again, you can kind of see the peg. I'll try to keep this on camera for you. So you line it up, you press it down, and it's got the socket. Turn it over, nothing's happening again. Hands here, nothing's going down. I should point out at this point in time, this reminds me, you can see this black lip here. That is sort of like a rubber, just like you have in the tray section and on the peg. And the reason I note that is if this was plastic and you shut your drawer, I should say, even with a loaded tray, it'll shimmy a little. This rubber actually does help keep it seated, minimize and mitigate movement, if you will. I'm going to come in now and we will grab, where is that? 15 shallow, just so you can kind of get a feel for what I'm talking about. This, again, right now it's occluded because I've got this thing pitched back off of this. When I hold this level, do you see what happened? Okay, you can actually see the second row. That's a big deal. A lot of times the sockets are occluded, a lot of times with other options, which again, we're going to compare and contrast these in other videos. But a lot of other options, you do not have that. It's not happening. The stair step, even though it's super subtle, it's not like this is giant and going to just not fit in your drawer or anything like that. Where this, yes, it's occluded, but again, I'm tilting back. When I hold this level, you can actually look down and you can see what's going on. So once more, we're upside down. We've got the 15s. They're still here. So I'm not going to make you watch me stick all these on, but we're going to go ahead and we will populate these. I'll show you the finished result. We'll have black impacts, if you will, for the metric stuff, and then we'll have some chromies up here for our SAE fractional set. This one, again, keep in mind our metric tray is sort of like the prototype only, and then this one is what I believe could come to production. So, well, the good news is, even though the sockets don't match, I will go above and beyond for you, just in case you want to see, like, hey, I think the black would look really good here on this, that might sell me. I'll do that for you too. So I'm not going to make you watch it, not going to time lapse it. I'll get these populated as best I can. We'll showcase them, and then I'll just switch you know, my SAE chromes to the metric tray, and the metric impacts to the SAE tray, just for the color contrast, so you'll have like a good feel for both. So I'm going to go ahead and make this happen. All right, so just a few seconds later, we've got this thing fully populated, minus the 7. I do not have a 7, sadly. I would love to get a 6 and a 7, particularly the 7, because I actually do use a 7 and an 8 fairly frequently. And while I would always prefer to use that with quarter drive, I just kind of want the 3/8 to be my cheater set, where I go a little smaller than I normally would want to, and I go bigger than I would normally want to. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But again, if you have complaints and stuff about like the size ranges, you're going to run across that with an awful lot of these. But the way these are set up, it's 7 to 19. If you're somebody that says, oh, they got to do 6 to 24, tell them, you know, you never know what very well could happen. It could be a replacement product. It could be an expansion. The main thing, though, I want to focus on is what this looks like populated, and more importantly, what you can expect to see if this was in your box. Now, keep in mind, this metric one, I believe, I could be mistaken, but I think this would be their straight-up prototype. Again, what would see production line today is our SAE, where we had the black backing and the orange footing. But just for the sake of showcasing it, this is what we are looking at right here. I will say, and this might be because they were impact rated sockets, so they're a little thicker on the sidewalls. 8, 9, and 10 super tight. Everything else, I mean, you can see the spacing here. So there's a little bit extra space, but it fits really well. I've got plenty of space to get my hand in and around them. Only tightness, again, 8, 9, and 10. I think you can kind of see that as they sort of cascade off just a little bit. But I told you, we do the Dairy Queen test, and I'm a man of my word. So there they are. Again, keep in mind, I have this angled. Granted, these are laser etched, and it's still, I've actually used these a little bit since we got them, but they have not worn down by any means on the numbering. Holding it level, you can actually, again, look down and you can see what size is in the back row, which that seems like such a simple thing. You would be surprised how many times products will disappoint you. This one does not. Now, coming in, we're going to turn it over. Nothing's happening, nothing's dropping. I'm going to give her a shake. And again, now, if you're using this on the daily, could you replicate that in 9 months? I honestly don't know. I'm optimistic that would happen, but let's say that the 10 and the 13 come off all the time, the 19 and the 17 get used a little bit as well. That would be where you would want to assess where. I have not had what I've got, which I can't spoil because I don't want to do that to you, long enough to know that, but it's a friction peg holder, so I'm sure they factor that in when it was engineered, and in terms of the life expectancy, I'll just have to wait and see. I will keep you posted, but that's what this one would look like. And now for contrast, I'm going to come in and we'll grab this SAE one that's got chrome sockets currently, and there we are. So this one, again, SAE version, is what you would expect to have hit production with the black, the white on black for your numbering system. And it sort of shows you the contrast with the orange rail, if you will, that like orange center section where my finger's running versus the black center section. Again, if you think like, oh hey, you know, black that out, it would look really good. Well, then the whole thing is black. Like maybe your pegs stay orange, but then everything else is black, and it's no longer like an orange product aside from like this lip at the bottom that no one really sees. So when you factor that in, I think you can kind of see why this was option 1 and option 2. That's sort of, how do you make this orange or blue or green, still have high visibility, easy to read for your sizing, and make, you know, an aesthetically pleasing product at the same time. So this is, again, SAE chromes here. Obviously what we have here, 5/16 to 15/16, or I'm sorry, 7/8. More on this later in terms of the sockets themselves, but I can tell you right now, this is a situation where I had zero fitment issues, shallow or deep. Everything lined up great. It was, again, just 8, 9 and the 10 back there in metric land. So what I'm gonna do before I pull all these sockets and swap them, I'm gonna go get the pictures I promised them I would take, which, if you follow me on Instagram, I'll probably throw them up on Twitter, maybe even Facebook if anyone's still there. And I'm only going to do that because I want as many people as possible to see these and say, man, that looks awesome. I didn't know orange was a color choice. And then they investigate it and they see that it's currently not an option. And they hopefully come in, put their 2 cents in and help encourage mechanics time savers to actually put orange into production. So I'm going to grab some pictures. We'll be back, then I'll switch these, and that way if you use these explicitly, you know, for your impact sockets, you can actually see what the black would look like on the orange, which I think is going to look really nice. So with that said, let me go grab some pics and we will be right back. Oh yeah, that's the impact sockets on the orange tray look really nice. Again, keep in mind, this is the product that I believe would be coming to market because again, it mimics everything that we see with their red, blue, green, gray, etc. So you've got your black with white high contrast size markings. You've got the body color, if you will, here on the rubber lip, perimeter all the way around, and then of course in the tray body itself, again with your black phosphate or blue sock, whatever you have for impacts, it just looks really, really good. Again, orange and black, one of my favorite color combinations. Note, even with the camera pointed down at an angle like this, like we do here on these videos, you can still see the back row. If I tilt you up, sort of like a more head down view like I'm looking at it, you see the back size markings beautifully. Now, just because we have it, a prototype here, I've taken the metric one with the white on orange size markings and the black centers, and I put some chromes down for you. So, obviously, if we're just talking straight up aesthetics here, I like chrome on black and I like the black on the color. It's just personal preference. Again, the sky is really the limit with what's available and what you want to do. 6-point, 12-point, chrome, impact, splined, I mean, like, it's really limitless. Sort of depends what you have, what you do, what's in your arsenal, what you use frequently, what you don't use as often but still need sorted so you can quickly get to it and deploy it on the job. All that aside, this is what's at stake here. This is Mechanics Time Savers, 2 prototypes. Again, this one's sort of, you know, the unicorn, if you will. The one we really want to focus on is back here, and it's not just because it's SAE. It's not because I use that more personally and at work professionally, but this is what you would be looking at. Swap SAE for metric, swap 3/8 for quarter or half-inch. Obviously, quarter drive has totally different size markings and size ranges. Same thing with half-inch, right? But for 3/8, it's quarter to 1 inch. And this is what you would be looking at for a finished product. Again, picture, if you will, just swap that out to 7, singular numbers all the way up to 19, and you'd have the metric equivalent here. So again, picture the orange body, orange pegs, and then white on black, high chalkboard contrast, if you will, there for your size markings. And again, same thing, angled of the camera is like this. So if you come in, this is sort of more of what you would see. When I was playing with these, taking the pictures, this is something that's commonsensical, but you may not think of it in this scenario. That 34-inch, you know, full bank cart that we've got, it sits up pretty high, right? And so, of course, I'm still able to look over it. I think pretty much anyone would be, and have the ideal size layout. But let's say that you only keep half-inch, or maybe what you do is delicate and you only keep your quarter drive stuff up in the top, and you've got your other sockets in the top drawer below, or even like in a non-cart setup, you just have the big universal, you know, top drawer. The bottom cart is your socket drawer. The more you look down on these, the easier it is to see. And what I mean by that is you can't change your height unless you go on your tiptoes. But if you physically move these from, say, the top of a cart or the open hutch area of a box down to the, say, top drawer or the second drawer, whatever it may be, then you really have like a top-down perspective on these things, sort of more like this, and it just makes it that much easier to discern what you've got. Again, with all the other trays we're not going to go into, you often have situations where, whether they're 1 peg, 2 peg, 3 peg, intended for shallow and deep or semi-deep mixed in, what have you, the size markings, if they're available, you just have them totally occluded, and this little tiny step takes care of that. So one of the big selling points of this Mechanics Time Saver design, currently, I will tell you, on the topic of semi-deeps and wish lists that we want to subject them to with hypotheticals from the customer base, I don't believe these are available with 3 rows. Maybe they are, but I don't think that's the case. If that's something you want to see, let them know. But again, the main thing and what I need your help with, what everyone that loves orange or other colors currently not offered in the catalog, let Mechanics Time Savers know you like this. Let them know that you'd love to buy it. And just, you know, for the other colored people, yellow, purples, what have you, you know, say, hey, I'd love to see that, and throw it in there type of a deal. So, but this is pretty much what they would be bringing to market right here, what you're looking at. Again, picture SAE Metric, picture whatever socket specs you want, you know, chrome or impact, what have you. And this is theoretically what you could see on your workbench, in your cart, in your toolbox. And personally, I would love to see it span out, because obviously we're not just talking about 3/8. If they go full tilt here on the orange, you're going to have quarter, 3/8, and half. If this is your jam, if you've never seen these before and you think, my lord, that's amazing, you know, a little friction peg, I love it. That's so much better than what I currently have. Or you just want to bring it in and try it out because you're not super content with what you've got, even though it's functional. This is an option. It's a pretty sweet option, I must say. Again, that's why I said, hey, do y'all have this available in orange anywhere? I'd like to buy it. I was just thinking like maybe they'd hit me up with a, you know, Distributor Z is orange and black is their official company colors, and they have it. But this is something they toyed around with. They cranked out this little metric guy here and the SAE version just to sort of white on orange, you know, white on black with the orange center sections. You've seen them, you get the idea. But help a guy out here. And let Mechanics Time Savers know that you want to see these. And again, anything else you want to see from them, let them know, because you never know. It might just happen. So even though life is strange here as these last several years, try to stay optimistic, especially with something you're passionate about, and, you know, pitch some ideas, throw some stuff around. You never know, it might just happen. So with that said, leave your comments, leave your thoughts. Again, not for me, but just so Mechanics Time Savers know. Similarly, I'll have the poll. It'll be a basic yes or no, or this is awesome, or it's pretty awesome, or something rigged like that. I don't know. But let them know, whether you're old-fashioned and you call, there's probably not many of those people left, whether you want to shoot an email, or whether it's just you tag them on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever and say, hey, you got to do this, you know, and let's see if we can bring this to market, because this looks really, really good. And there's a chance that we might just be seeing it in the not too distant future. So with that said, a huge thanks to Mechanics Time Savers for sending these prototypes out. Again, this is currently not available. You can't go buy this, but I want to, and I want you to be able to. And that's where we need to come together and say, hey, make this happen. We the people have spoken. You need to produce it. It looks killer, and it's going to look really good in your toolbox at home. So with that said, you know what to do. Leave the comments, let them know. And we'll see what happens. So it will be one small step, you know, just one of those types of deals, and we'll see if this can't pan out for everyone. So with that said, you know the drill. LoneStarMopars.com, that is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all 3 at Lone Star Mopars. I'll post up some of the pictures I took, and of course we have the video here. So again, I don't know if you're having as good a Valentine's Day as I am, because I'm out here in the shop with some sweet prototypes, getting to check them out, populate them, take some pictures, and try to bring something cool to fruition for everyone. But I guess if you're married or dating somebody, or, you know, just treating your prized muscle car to an oil change, what have you, you might be having an okay time too. But my Valentine's Day was pretty good, and it ended up super sweet thanks to Mechanics Time Savers. So again, big thanks to them. Hopefully this pans out and I'm not just an idiot on my own, and other people agree this looks killer and you want it, and they make it, and it's a happy ending for everybody. What better way to celebrate Valentine's Day? What crazy antics will we get into for St. Patrick's Day? I have no idea, but you'll have to stick around. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell, jump your Charger across a creek, and provided the government hasn't killed me by that point in time, you just might see something else crazy and zany for St. Patrick's Day. But as I mentioned, Valentine's Day, super awesome. I love the aesthetics of this thing, functionality of it. There's a lot to like. Again, if you're curious about this and everything else we brought in, we'll have those videos too. But this is what we need to come together and conquer. Let's get Mechanics Time Savers to bring orange to market, and we will take it from there. So you know the drill. You can find us Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All three are linked. I've got timestamps down below. I'll link direct again to Mechanics Time Savers. You can check out their other color options. I will also link to their Instagram. That's probably where they're going to share the pictures and everything, and you can come in and say, make that. You know, or you got to do chartreuse. You know, I want rattle trap colors from the late 90s here. But hopefully this will pan out well for everybody. And super nice here. It's like still in the mid 60s. I've got the shop door cracked, getting some fresh air in. I'm going to go get some more work done. So again, big thanks to MTS. I'd love to see this thing happen. Hopefully it does. If it does, this won't be the last you've seen of them. But, with that said, I hope you all had a great Valentine's Day, whatever it is you may or may not be doing or want to do. If it was terrible, maybe this cheers you up. And so, on that note, I hope you have a great rest of your week when you see this on Wednesday, and I hope you'll join me Saturday. We'll be checking out some super cool tool content. So, stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you back here for more action from the shop.